Hesitation is a clinical financial disease. Your high intelligence actively guarantees your permanent poverty. Smart people analyze every single microscopic risk. They overthink everything until the opportunity dies completely. This is the ultimate 60-second test. 99% of adults fail it every single day. Wall Street aggressively monetizes your massive hesitation. The financial elite execute with terrifying, violent speed. They steal your generational wealth absolutely effortlessly. The window to act closes permanently today. Artificial intelligence is violently accelerating the global market. Slow decisions mathematically guarantee your absolute financial obsolescence. Close this video and remain permanently poor. Or learn the elite hidden execution framework now. Stop overthinking your entire fragile financial future. Start executing your massive escape plan today. Why adults fail the 60-second test. Society fed you a massive, destructive financial lie. You were aggressively told knowledge equals true wealth. This is a catastrophic, fundamental mathematical error. Knowledge is just dormant, useless potential energy. It is completely worthless without massive kinetic execution. You read advanced financial books every single day. You listen to deep, complex business podcasts constantly. You understand global macroeconomics better than anyone else. You track the stock market with absolute precision. Yet your personal bank account remains completely empty. Your massive credit card debt grows every month. Why does this exact tragedy always happen? Your high intelligence is your biggest financial liability. A high IQ creates a dangerous psychological illusion. It creates the total illusion of absolute control. You falsely believe more data eliminates all risk. You research a simple business idea for months. You build massive, overly complex financial spreadsheets. You analyze every possible microscopic point of failure. And then you do absolutely nothing at all. You convince your fragile ego the timing is wrong. This is the clinical curse of high intelligence. Your brain predicts failure perfectly and constantly. It actively hallucinates massive obstacles that do not exist. It keeps you frozen in a state of permanent preparation. 60-second test violently exposes this fatal flaw. Face a low-risk financial decision right now today. You have exactly 60 seconds on the clock. Make the final choice and execute it immediately. 99% of educated adults fail this test. They research a $50 book for 3 weeks. They endlessly delay launching their simple digital business. They wait patiently for perfect macroeconomic market conditions. Perfect market conditions simply never arrive in capitalism. This is sophisticated, clinical, and pathetic financial cowardice. You use your intellect to justify your inaction. You call yourself a careful, strategic thinker. The clinical truth is much harsher and darker. You are simply terrified of looking incredibly stupid. The uneducated executor operates on a different plane. They skip the deep, paralyzing analysis entirely. The open market brutally breaks their unfinished product. They fix it rapidly using actual customer data. They generate massive, compounding cash flow very quickly. You are still reading chapter 4 of a book. They already stole your entire target market share. Your overthinking is a permanent psychological prison. It protects you from real-world social rejection, but it mathematically guarantees your permanent middle-class poverty. You must absolutely destroy your over-analytical mind today. Violent action always defeats perfect strategic planning. A terrible plan executed violently always wins completely. A perfect plan delayed always loses absolutely everything. The market only rewards physical, tangible value creation. It completely ignores your brilliant, hidden, unexecuted ideas. Your isolated genius is entirely worthless to society. It must be rapidly converted into cash-flowing assets. Assets require massive, terrifying, and immediate financial risks. You avoid risk just to feel completely safe. Safety is the most dangerous illusion on earth. True safety is owning independent cash-flowing assets. Everything else is a temporary, fragile corporate bribe. This psychological blind spot compounds against you daily. Algorithms actively hide this exact truth from you. Ignore this and become completely obsolete by tomorrow. Examine your deep childhood conditioning right now. Trap of overthinking. Your financial paralysis is not a random biological accident. It is the result of strict clinical childhood conditioning. Look closely at the modern corporate school system. It was designed during the brutal Industrial Revolution. It creates perfectly compliant, silent, obedient factory workers. It was never designed to create wealthy, independent owners. The rules of traditional school are incredibly strict. You receive a very specific, rigid daily syllabus. You follow the exact, detailed instructions provided. There is always only one single correct answer. If you make a mistake, you are punished. You receive a humiliating, permanent low grade. A low grade threatens your fragile social status. Your biological brain associates this failure with death. For 20 entire years, you avoid mistakes completely. You seek absolute perfection before submitting any work. You beg for permission before making any move. This creates a catastrophic, permanent financial blind spot. The rules of wealth oppose the rules of school. The real global economy has no structured syllabus. No teacher grades your daily financial work. The only honest feedback mechanism is positive cash flow. True wealth requires incredibly rapid, aggressive iteration. It requires massive, frequent, and highly public failures. Your conditioned brain violently rejects this harsh reality. When facing any financial risk, your amygdala fires. It triggers a massive biological panic response instantly. You feel intense, paralyzing final exam anxiety. You freeze entirely in your tracks and panic. You desperately seek more information for perfect outcomes. Perfect outcomes simply do not exist in modern capitalism. Risk is the exact price of admission for wealth. The uneducated executor completely bypassed this toxic conditioning. They dropped out of the rigid academic system. They skipped useless university degrees entirely. They never internalized the primal fear of bad grades. They do not link financial failure to human value. Failure is simply a routine, necessary business expense. It is the basic, fundamental cost of data acquisition. Lacking your academic conditioning gives them infinite financial agility. They are not paralyzed by needing to be right. They are only obsessed with being highly profitable. They move fast and break things without guilt. You move slow and protect your fragile ego. The corporate system absolutely loves your conditioned hesitation. They need you to be completely terrified of failure. A terrified population makes perfectly obedient, cheap employees. They pay you exactly enough to survive the month. They keep you deeply addicted to the steady paycheck. Your childhood programming makes you the perfect corporate slave. Pay extreme attention right now. The mathematical cost of your perfectionism compounds daily. This exact mechanism is draining your equity today. You must calculate your true financial fear. Analysis paralysis destroys wealth. Overthinking is not a harmless, quirky personality trait. It is a massive, compounding, devastating financial tax. You must deeply understand the concept of asymmetric risk. The elite build wealth strictly via asymmetric bets. The potential downside is strictly, mathematically capped always. The potential upside is mathematically, infinitely massive. Start a simple digital business online today. Your total maximum downside is exactly $500. Your total potential upside is massive generational equity. The logical decision is immediate, aggressive, violent execution. But the chronic overthinker completely rejects the math. The overthinker focuses entirely on the microscopic financial loss. Their fragile ego cannot handle the microscopic sting. So they permanently delay the massive product launch. Wanted absolute economic stability in the global market. In those 3 years, the market moved rapidly. Competitors easily captured your exact target audience. Artificial intelligence automated your entire core business service. The cost of digital advertising tripled in price. Waiting for zero risk mathematically guaranteed your absolute failure. You paid a massive premium for an illusion. The exact same brutal rule applies to investing. The highly educated investor waits for perfect market crashes. They hold cash safely in the bank for years. They read terrifying analyst reports predicting global doom. They miss massive, historic, life-changing bull markets entirely. They lose all compounding interest on their capital. Inflation aggressively steals 50% of their purchasing power. Trying to perfectly time the market destroys their wealth. Hesitation is the world's most expensive daily habit. Time in the market always beats timing the market. Speed to market always beats perfect product design. You cannot simply analyze your way to massive wealth. You must physically buy the assets today. You must physically launch the product right now. Every second of delay burns your future equity. Wall Street actively profits from your terrified hesitation. They buy the assets while you read the news. Why perfectionism is a defense mechanism. We must expose the educated mind's darkest secret. Perfectionism is absolutely not about having high standards. Perfectionism is a strict, primitive biological defense mechanism. It is a psychological shield for your fragile ego. Claiming you are a perfectionist sounds very noble. You sound like you genuinely care about deep quality. Clinically, you are just a terrified psychological hostage. You are an absolute hostage to public opinion. You are completely paralyzed by the fear of strangers. If you never launch, no one criticizes your work. If you never publish, nobody dislikes your creative output. If you never ask, you avoid painful romantic rejection. Perfectionism keeps you perfectly safe in a hidden fantasy. In your mind, you are an undiscovered, brilliant billionaire. In reality, you are a completely broke, average consumer. You depend entirely on a fragile, highly taxed corporate paycheck. You trade actual, tangible financial freedom to protect an illusion. You desperately protect an illusion of pure intellectual superiority. You would rather be right than be wealthy. You would rather look smart than build massive equity. The uneducated, ruthless executor lacks this massive ego problem. They do not care about ugly, broken websites. They do not care about incredibly awkward sales pitches. They completely ignore their wealthy neighbors' cruel laughter. They completely separate their self-worth from external social validation. They willingly look like complete idiots for 5 years. They absorb the heavy, painful social friction daily. They absorb the painful laughter and the brutal insults. On year 6, they buy the entire massive building. They buy the building their critics currently work in. They buy the banks that denied their initial loans. You must actively choose your specific pain today. Suffer the temporary, sharp pain of looking foolish. Learn to execute aggressively and poorly at first. Or suffer the permanent, agonizing, endless pain of regret. Spend your entire life explaining your incredibly high IQ. Struggle endlessly to pay your credit card minimums. Die with a massive brain and an empty wallet. Perfectionism is the ultimate luxury of the broke middle class. The elite do not have time for perfectionism. They only have time for massive value extraction. Do not click away right now. This next framework is how the 1% steals your money. Adopt this specific rule today or stay broke forever. Weaponize your daily actions right now. How the elite weaponize quick decisions. The financial elite operate on a completely different plane. They never suffer from clinical analysis paralysis ever. They use a brutal system called iterative execution. The market is a massive, highly unpredictable living organism. It cannot be accurately predicted by any spreadsheet. It can only be aggressively tested with real capital. A massive billion-dollar hedge fund spots a market inefficiency. They do not wait for a perfect investment thesis. They instantly deploy a tiny fraction of total capital. They test the deep waters with aggressive speed. They launch a rapid, highly calculated financial probe. If the trade bleeds money, they cut it instantly. They lose a completely microscopic amount of total capital. If the trade shows rapid, undeniable positive momentum, they attack. They pour billions of dollars into it immediately. They double down aggressively on the winning trade. They scale the massive victory with heavy institutional leverage. Middle-class mindset is the exact opposite behavior. You spend 6 months deeply analyzing one single decision. You finally make the terrifying, emotional financial bet. If it fails, you are completely emotionally devastated. You quit the game forever in total disgust. You loudly claim the entire financial system is rigged. The elite know the system is just a feedback loop. Every single failure is simply purchased market data. Failure is the tuition fee for extreme wealth. The elite do not need a perfect strike rate. They are highly comfortable being wrong frequently and publicly. Because downside is rigidly capped, losses are completely irrelevant. When they are right, they scale massively and violently. One massive winner easily covers 50 microscopic losers. This is the entire elite venture capital model. This is exactly how billionaires build generational global empires. Unrelenting speed is an incredibly powerful offensive weapon. You draft a perfect, detailed 50-page business plan. They test 3 broken products in the open market. They fail twice publicly and lose tiny amounts. They secure a massive, incredibly profitable, cash-flowing winner. They use your hesitation as their personal liquidity. 60-second execution rule. You must rewire your entire biological operating system today. You must brutally murder your highly educated, fragile ego. To escape the cage, adopt the ruthless executor protocol. You must become a machine of pure execution. First, embrace the 80% rule immediately. Absolute perfection is a dangerous, highly toxic mathematical myth. It is a strict mathematical impossibility in the real world. When a project is 80% complete, launch it. Push it violently into the open, unforgiving market. Hit publish today without any further hesitation. Let the market brutally expose all the hidden flaws. Fix those specific flaws in real time using customer cash. Build the airplane while rapidly falling off the cliff. It terrifies your deeply conditioned, academic brain completely. You must do it anyway to survive this economy. Second, rigorously enforce the strict 60-second rule. If a decision costs under $100, decide now. You have exactly 60 seconds to act completely. If it costs under 1,000, you have 24 hours. Force your brain to act without complete, perfect data. Train your nervous system to tolerate extreme, terrifying ambiguity. Ambiguity hides all the massive, generational wealth globally. Absolute certainty is incredibly expensive to acquire today. Certain investments always have absolutely zero profit margin left. Wall Street extracts all profit from absolute certainty. You must operate in the gray area of risk. Third, disconnect your identity from your outcomes completely. You are not your failed digital business venture. You are not your bad, unprofitable stock trade. You are a cold, calculating machine collecting data points. Starve your pathetic, primal need for social approval. Accept the temporary discomfort of looking foolish to strangers. Focus entirely on acquiring massive, independent equity and cash flow. Your high intelligence is currently a massive, dark prison. Your expensive university degrees are just heavy iron chains. You can remain comfortably paralyzed inside your padded cage. You can keep gathering useless data indefinitely until death. Or you can finally wake up, cut the wire, and execute. These elite wealth frameworks are aggressively hidden from the masses. They are actively suppressed to keep you completely docile. Subscribe right now to secure your elite mental access. Master this specific framework before rapid inflation destroys your savings. Are you ready to stop overthinking and start building? Learn the ultimate framework for massive, automated cash flow. Master your mind. Build your fortress. See you in the next protocol.